Hi, welcome to another episode of Half Shirts Will Travel with Wendell. Today we're going to talk about all things bird of paradise. We're going to talk about a cocktail. We're going to talk about a movie. We're going to talk about some flora and some fauna. And of course, we're going to talk about a really cool shirt. Bird of paradise is actually a name for tropical birds that grow in certain regions. They're noted for their bright, beautiful plumage. Usually it's the males, and this is done to attract females. There is a great tropical plant or a breed of plants that grow mostly again in tropical areas known as the bird of paradise. And the reason they do that is because of, or the reason they're called that is because of the bloom that comes out on the flower that resembles some of the birds known as birds of paradise. So the plant was named after that. I remember when I lived in San Diego, I lived there about 2 years, and I rented this cool little house. The owner had planted birds of paradise all around it. And I remember coming out all the time and looking at those things and just thinking, again, we're San Diego, which is a pretty great place to be, but just that whole tropical feeling was something that really appealed to me. There's a great movie called Bird of Paradise, and you probably have never heard of it because it was made in 1931. But I cannot recommend this enough for a number of reasons. Bird of Paradise is a pre-code movie. There was this time in the early days of American cinema when filmmakers were kind of allowed to get away with quite a bit of stuff. And the modern decorum was, not quite so particular as what was coming out in the content. As a matter of fact, the first movie to win an Oscar, Wings, starred Clara Bow. And if you watch carefully, you get just a brief glimpse of nudity. Back then, there were not rating systems. That came later. So as a matter of fact, it was generally the content being produced tended towards a little bit scandalous for the times. And we're talking the 20s and 30s. And look, this was really appealing. The filmmakers knew what they were doing. Guys want to come and see Clara Bow take her top off. They want to see, if not real nudity, certainly allude to it. Some of the great thing to look for is Betty Davis doing some early, and Barbara Stanwyck doing some early pre-code movies. And you'll see a lot of legs and a lot of seamed nylon stockings, things like that. This put people in the movie theaters. So again, Hollywood knew what it was doing. And then of course, there's always a buzzkill that comes along and says, we cannot have this. So a code was established, and that's where the modern day ratings code ultimately came from. This happened in the mid-30s. So G, PG, all of that kind of stuff, that came later. The filmmakers really, and the studios really weren't locked into that until the mid-30s. But they pushed their luck, and they got pretty far with it, and then it all got shut down. So a fun thing to look for are pre-code movies. The movie called Bird of Paradise starred Delores Del Rio. And I want to talk about her for a little bit because she's a name that needs to be remembered. She had a fantastic career. She started in silent films. And most importantly, she was a Mexican actress. And she came to America. Everyone fell in love with her. So Delores was a rare exception. She was talented, she was beautiful, and she was much in demand. So she makes this movie called Bird of Paradise. And in it, being a pre-code movie, there is a scandalous scene when our hero sees her swimming supposedly in the nude, and she's a woman that lives on this tropical island. So they're some sort of indescript island where everybody runs around in basically Hawaiian print sarongs and things, and loincloths and things like that. And she plays the daughter of the king of the island. So these sailors come and land, and one of them falls in love with her. But the first time that they really have a moment together, he's been admiring her from afar, and she had actually saved his life already. So he sees her swimming outside the boat, and as I said, appears to be naked. And so he strips down and dives in, and they have a little underwater swimming thing, which again, I'd like to point out, if you're watching the movie, pay attention to this, because underwater cinematography in 1931 was no small task. These early filmmakers had to figure out a lot of technology to make stuff like that happen. So it's just worth a watch. so much stuff that we take for granted. These guys were inventing everything that ultimately we watch today. And by today's times and standards, we think that diversity is still much of an issue, and yet here we were literally almost 100 years ago, and one of the biggest sex symbols in Hollywood was from Mexico. She's a gorgeous woman. She took her last name Del Rio from her first husband. Everyone fell in love with her. Orson Welles she became his muse. He eventually wrecked her marriage and he married her. That lasted a few years, but Orson, he couldn't really keep it in his pants. So nonetheless, they were divorced, and she had several other marriages. But she was a huge star in the 20s, and she was one of the fantastic stars that actually made the transition from silent to sound. That didn't happen. There were a lot of historical actors and actresses that never made that transition. They looked great on film, but their delivery, their voices, whatever the case may be, it somehow never translated. So the move to sound movies did actually end a lot of careers. We've talked about the movie Bird of Paradise. We've talked about the flora and the fauna. But first, what I really need to do is tell you a little about this shirt. The shirt's made by Kamehameha. This is a pattern that goes back to the 40s. I will have Chris post some pictures of not only this shirt, but some historical photos. This is a very old pattern. It might go back to the 30s. Matter of fact, it probably does. The company that makes this, and they were around starting in 1936, is Kamehameha. You've heard me talk about them before. Kamehameha has been in the shirt business a long time, and they really do consider what I do, set the bar for what a quality Aloha shirt should look like, what it should be. High quality, great quality materials, and again, they embrace historical patterns that go back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, and reissue them. I've worn a couple before on other episodes. I have a whole closet full. You'll see more of them. But of course, this particular pattern, you'll never guess what it's called. It is called the Bird of Paradise, and it's inspired by the plants, not the birds, but the plants. Again, you've got amazing craftsmanship. As you can see, the center placket lines up beautifully. The pattern carries all the way up and down. We've got the wooden buttons, actually coconut buttons, I believe. Silk, okay. Nice fit, nice drape. That well-crafted pocket that I talk about all the time that I love so much, you gotta have that matched pocket. Again, a testament to true tailoring skills to line that up. And to make a shirt like this with a matched pocket, carrying a pattern in such a way that the pattern seems to never break, okay, that's not only a huge skill, it takes a lot of material to make that happen. So sometimes you look at the cost of a shirt, of Hawaiian or Aloha shirts, you wonder what's going on. Well, that's part of it, okay? So they're made in Hawaii. I believe Kamehameha is based out of Oahu. And I can't encourage you enough, look them up. They're a great company. So we're gonna show some pictures of the shirt, some close-ups, things like that. But the Bird of Paradise is a classic Aloha shirt look pattern that's been around forever. Many other companies make their version of this as well. But I say start with the guys that may just have started it. If they weren't the first person with this pattern, they certainly came close. So good looking shirt. Great colors, eye-catching, and I enjoy this a lot. If you want a really good traditional pattern, look for a Bird of Paradise. Now, we've talked about the movie. We've talked about Delores Del Rio. We've talked about this fantastic shirt from Kamehameha. We've talked about birds. We've talked about plants. Now we're going to make a drink. You'll never guess what this drink is called. I found this online, looked like a pretty cool recipe. Of course, it's called the Bird of Paradise. And I think I don't know exactly how they tied it in, but you know what? This falls in line with Tiki drinks. And Aloha shirts, Bird of Paradise, plants, birds, they all fall in line with the Tiki idea. It's something we love to embrace. So I think this is a good Tiki drink. I may have mentioned in the past, Tiki drinks, when people think of Tiki drinks, they're really thinking about rum-based drinks with coconut, stuff like that. But gin is a very popular base for tiki drinks also. And of course, I'm a fan of gin. So I found a couple different bird of paradise cocktail recipes people had come up with that were involved rum and vodka and stuff like that. But I found this gin version and I thought this is a winner. So nice drink for a tropical afternoon. Very similar to a Tom Collins, actually. So we're gonna make this. And how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna get started, I've gotta make sure we got the right glass, of course. So I've got a Tom Collins glass. Got this from Whiskey, I think. They make great stuff. Matter of fact, my cocktail mixing glass comes from them also. So we're gonna need a few ingredients. We're gonna need some tools. And we're gonna get started. Got my Boston shaker. It's a weighted tin. We are going to start out, we need an ounce of lemon juice. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do a little shortcut here because later we're going to need a garnish. So I'm going to need some lemon peel. So before I start cutting this lemon up, we're going to get that peel set off to the side. Chris likes this part because he always wonders what part of myself I'm going to cut this time. You know, part of the trick to peeling your lemon to make garnishes is you're supposed to turn the lemon. You're not supposed to drag the peeler, you're supposed to turn the lemon. And I do find that works really well. It helps you keep the blade level so you can get a consistent peel all the way across. And I like this particular brand. These were pretty inexpensive. I think I got 3 for $10 or something like that, but the blade is just the right thing that whenever you cut your lemon peel, there's none of that pith on the other side. So we're gonna set this aside. We'll be back for this later. Now that we've done that, we gotta get an ounce of lemon juice. And we're gonna use this guy. We're gonna see how much juice we can get out of this. But if you're gonna go with a good quality tiki drink, you certainly wanna start with fresh ingredients. So I'm hoping that I can get my 1 ounce out of this. I feel I can. It looks like a pretty good lemon. Okay. And looking a little bit light, so I'm sure we can finish it off with this. Get our 1 ounce of juice in there. All right, feeling good about that. Got a seed or two in there, so we'll use a cocktail strainer. And look at that, perfect. Exactly 1 ounce. Somebody's looking favorably upon me today. So we're gonna put our 1 ounce of lemon juice in our cocktail shaker. We're gonna go with 2 ounces of gin. Using one of my go-tos. Now, we're going to do a ½ ounce of simple syrup and a ½ ounce of grenadine. I do like to make my own simple syrup, but I usually do that more when I've got a party going on or something where I can use a large quantity, because you got to make a pretty large quantity and then it sits around and doesn't get used. So I keep some from the store on hand, just so that I don't get stuck with a refrigerator full of simple syrup. ½ ounce of simple syrup, ½ ounce of grenadine. We're going to mix that, we're going to add that in there as well. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, and while I got my knife out, I'm gonna trim that lemon peel. Again, you're gonna see this shortly, what's happening with that. Now comes the fun part, okay? Just like sour drinks, we're gonna need an egg white. Egg white is gonna give us a foamy, layered texture to the drink. So, we're going to get our egg white out of there. Now, I bought fresh eggs. The egg, raw, undercooked, things like that, of course, there's always lots of warnings about that. So I buy fresh eggs. I'm using a white egg today. I thought it would look better on camera. Usually I buy brown eggs, but like many people, I was foolish enough to think that a brown egg was somehow healthier, and it actually has nothing to do with it. You got to read the packages, but some, whether it's white or brown, some eggs are more fortified with nutrients, omega-3s, things like that. So look for a good quality egg. It doesn't have to be brown, look for the quality. So we're gonna do something now called a dry shake. Ultimately, we're going to add ice to this because we got to chill it off. That's part of the package. But the dry shake is something I recently read up on, and I've been giving it a try. So what you do is you shake first without the ice, get all the ingredients, then we're going to add the ice and shake again. So I don't know how much difference it makes, but we're going to do it. So we're going to shake this up really well. And my Boston shaker is letting me down today. Okay, but here we are. We're foaming up now, like that. Now we're going to add some ice. We've got our dry shake done. We're going to add some ice in here. We're going to put some ice in our Collins glass. That. And we're going to shake this again, this time with an ice cube in it. We want to foam this bad boy up really well. All right, take that off. Use a strainer, and I like to use a strainer just because there might be a few impurities left over from that egg, who knows, but let's try to get as much out of that as we can. And there's the foam we were looking for. But wait, we're not done yet, because we're going to top this off with some club soda. Look at that. We got some great color. Got a little foam. And I think we should have, let's go with a blue straw. But wait, we're not done yet. Because no cocktail drink, especially a tiki drink, is complete without a proper garnish. So we're going to take one of these luxurious Luxardo cherries. We're going to lay it in the middle of that lemon peel that I cut. And I'm going to move this aside so you can get a better view of that. Then we're going to take, I got a cocktail pick with a sword on it. Love that. We're going to roll this guy up. Just roll it up like a pig in a blanket. That. And you know what? Why not? We're going with a tiki drink. How can your tiki drink not have an umbrella in it? Gently, gently, there we go. We're going to open up our umbrella. Always like a nice umbrella. And out. Look at that. Let's bring it to the camera. So we've got a couple different layers, almost like a parfait. Got that cool little cherry lemon garnish. Like I said, umbrella is not required, but you know, why not? Okay, nice festive straw and a nice festive shirt. So let's have a go at this. You know, this is everything I want from a tiki drink. There's just enough lemon juice. It plays well with the gin. Lemon juice always plays well with gin. The foaminess, the texture, the look, the presentation, it's all part of the package. The quality tiki drink is not just the ingredients, but it is about the presentation. Much like a quality Aloha shirt. I'll recap it once, just in case. We got an egg white, half an ounce of simple syrup, half an ounce of grenadine, an ounce of lemon juice, 2 ounces of gin. Dry shake first, get it mixed really well, then add an ice cube, shake it again, pour it in your Collins glass over another ice cube. You should get a nice foamy head. Adds to the look, adds to the appearance. Just right, very refreshing for a tropical afternoon. So this was the Bird of Paradise episode. It was another episode of Have Shirts Will Travel. I certainly hope you're enjoying our show. If you do, please like and subscribe. We would like to have more people on it, and we'd like to be able to keep this going. It's a lot of fun, and as I said, I just want people to tune in and have a good time. So again, this was another episode of Have Shirts Will Travel. Cheers. If you want more of my thoughts and insights on Aloha shirts, cocktails, gear, tools, or anything else I may think of, please like and subscribe. See you in the next episode of Have Shirts Will Travel.